Hey everyone, hope you're having a great day. It is Jen Fontanilla, certified money coach, author, and speaker, and I am committed to helping women build and create their ultimate life without worrying about money by gaining clarity, hope, and confidence while mastering their money and their mindset. So I've been on this kick talking about life insurance. It's super, super important. It's not the sexiest thing. I think a lot of people want to talk about making money, investing, and stuff like that, although you can do that with life insurance. So that's another video. But what I want to talk about right now is, do I need life insurance if I'm young, I don't have kids, I don't have a spouse, I don't own a home? That is a very common question because we think like, well, if I don't have any of those things, I don't have dependents per se, thinking about children, do I still need it? And this question came up because this week I've had some people that I've been trying to help with insurance, and their health is something that is getting in the way in terms of qualifying, and it just runs the gamut. There's different types of health issues, and so obviously when you're young, you're healthy, and so that's one of the reasons why you would want to consider it. But aside from being healthy, the question that goes back to, well, I don't have kids, I don't have a house, and I'm not married, do I still need to get it? So one of the things, there's some areas I want you to think about, do you have student loans? And more importantly, do you have a parent or somebody that co-signed with you for the student loan? And that debt is still going to be the responsibility of that person that co-signed. So if you are somebody that's listening to this or know somebody that co-signed for someone's student loan, then it's super important that you make sure that there is a plan or that person's insured, because we don't know what's going to happen. We can't predict what's going to happen. We don't know. I mean, we didn't even know that this virus was going to happen. We don't know. There's just things that happen in life. And so things are so unpredictable. And that's why things like insurance, and life insurance in particular in this topic, is so important. So if you are somebody that co-signed somebody's student loan, that debt will become your responsibility if the student passes away. And so that's something to consider, because it will be your responsibility to continue to make those payments. Now, if you have a private student loan, it's a good chance it won't get discharged as well. So if something happens, that parent or whoever co-signed, they're stuck with it. So also make sure you check into what kind of loan. Now, federal loans can be canceled upon the death of the person who borrowed. So in this case, the student, the young person. And in addition, the federal loans typically don't require a co-signer. So there shouldn't be any issue there. And then there's a Parent Plus loan. Those are also typically canceled upon the death of the borrower or the student in this situation. However, so like I mentioned, private student loans, they don't always get canceled. So they also don't usually require, a co-signer. So that means the parent, the co-signer, they are still responsible. So again, check in to see if you are in that situation, do you have a backup plan to make sure that that debt, that student loan, is going to be paid? I mean, especially when you have a situation where you're taking care of your own stuff, and now all of a sudden this loan is outstanding, and some of those student loans are huge. When I've worked with people and I'm looking at their statements and their situation and things that they're dealing with on a financial basis and trying to get organized, it's the student loans. The student loans are those things where it's just like, I can't get rid of this. It's a massive debt. So please look into that. Now, the next thing is too, if you happen to have taken out a small business loan, did you take one out? Is there a co-signer? If the co-signer is there, then they still pay for it. They're still going to have to pay for it, and that loan has to be repaid. And even if it takes your entire estate. So that's something also to take a look at. Okay, so I think this message is really for if you're a co-signer. If you're a co-signer on any of these things, it's so important that you look into, okay, yes, this person that I co-signed with, they don't have kids, they don't have, a house, a spouse, or what may seem like they don't have dependents, but you're still going to be on the hook for taking care of this debt that's going to be left behind in the event that they pass away, especially if it's unexpectedly. So make sure you have a plan in place to take care of that stuff. Otherwise, that becomes your financial burden because you co-signed. Okay, now I'm not saying that you shouldn't co-sign, but I think it's very important to understand what you're getting involved with, and always, always, always know your exit strategy if there needs to be one, because if you don't even know what you're going to do, imagine all that debt becomes your burden now. All right. So the other question was, well, I don't have kids. Now, if you don't have, let's say there's no spouse, then that's a different situation. So usually when somebody's married or there's, some kind of partnership, you're typically sharing financial responsibilities, and you're taking care of a house, or, you're helping each other out with, typical expenses. So imagine again, if that income is all of a sudden gone, can you survive? Can you still pay for things and continue your lifestyle and continue your life as if that person was still there in terms of their income coming in? And I think sometimes we don't stop to really take a look at, what if all of a sudden it's gone? So that one's, I would think, obvious, but I still need to urge you to think about that. Now, if there are no kids, sometimes people think, well, I don't have any kids. Why do I need insurance? Well, it doesn't always have to be a kid. It could be anybody that depends on you financially. Some of you are taking care of an elderly parent. Some of you are taking care of a parent or both of your parents, or maybe there's a relative who depends on you financially. They're not necessarily a kid, but they still depend on you financially. So imagine you could be, young and you're working and you're helping out. Now, all of a sudden, if you're not there anymore and your income isn't coming in to take care of their financial responsibilities that they need because they're dependent on you, what are they going to do? So you may not necessarily have kids, but there are people who are financially dependent on you. And so these are some reasons why somebody young should consider getting life insurance. It's not this easy thing where, well, I don't have a house, spouse, and kids. Do I need to still get it? The other thing too is when you're young, you're healthy, and your rating is so much, it's better because you're healthier. And then your premium, and the premium is the monthly cost, it will be for you to put an insurance policy in place. And so I just, recommend in these situations, if we're just talking about making sure these things are covered, you just need a simple term policy. Okay. There are other ways to create income and wealth and all these other things, but just for the pure sake of taking care of these expenses, the dirt cheap way to do it is have a simple term policy. So let's say you know the life of the loan, or how much expenses it's going to cost, that the lump sum that you need to leave behind, so that your dependents are going to be able to pay off your debts, your loans, or any of their financial needs, especially the amount that they're dependent on you. And those numbers can be calculated. And so, just to give you a picture, it's not too expensive. So let's say you're 25, you're working. I did a quote, $100,000, 30-year term, meaning the policy will be in force, in place, as long as you're paying it for 30 years. Then check this out, it's $10 to $12 a month. That is like way cheaper than your cell phone plans out there. And so I think sometimes we have this misconception that, it's expensive. I can't afford it, or another expense. It's $10 for a 25-year-old to get a $100,000 policy. And again, you have to add up all these things, and that's how we'll calculate what's the need. And then it's for a 30-year policy, it's $10 to $12 a month on average. I looked it up. There's different carriers. Of course, you still need to do a medical, which is just a simple blood sample and urine. And there are some that don't require it, but when it doesn't require the medical, then the premium, the monthly cost is a little higher, because it's kind of like, well, you don't want to do the medical, but we'll let you not do it, so we're going to charge you a little bit more. So I just wanted to reiterate that just because you're young and you may not have these things, it doesn't necessarily mean it's a simple black and white, no, you don't need it. So consider these things, consider that to look into it while you're healthy, because once you get into a situation where you have cancer, or sometimes diabetes, or you're severely overweight, or certain conditions, there's a high probability, depending on what it is you're dealing with or have, that you'll be denied. You won't even qualify. Okay, so this is why when you're young and healthy, it's something to consider and have in place versus going down the road later on and finding out you're not going to be able to get coverage. And then also, if you have a co-signer that is helping you with, whether it's a house, it would be, or it could be student loans or things like that, and or a business small loan, things like that. So you have to think about, how is that person going to take care of the debt that you're leaving behind if something should happen to you. So if you have any questions, drop a comment below or DM me. If you're watching the replay, type in #replay. And if you know somebody that you love and care about that could totally use this information, please hit that share button right below there. And with that said, I hope this was helpful. And if you have any questions, let me know. Or if you just want to simply know, hey, how much would it cost for me? I'd be more than happy to help you. All right. With that said, take care. Thanks for tuning in. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye.